Hello everyone and welcome back on my channel. Today I just thought I would talk about how I personally try to stay healthy, and it's realistic health advice I'm going to give in this video, because I feel like in a lot of videos about health, whether it be exercise or food, it is unrealistic for most people. So I'm going to make it more realistic by sharing what have actually worked for me and what didn't work and why. So this video has 3 parts. So firstly, it's both mine and Wikipedia's definition of what being healthy is all about. And then secondly, I'm going to talk about what I have tried to stay healthy and why it didn't work. And then I'm going to talk about how I try to stay healthy now and what has worked in the way that I'm trying to stay healthy now. And yeah, you're probably going to hear some background noises. It's my guinea pigs. I can't do much about that because I have to film in my living room. So first of all, I'm going to talk about what staying healthy is all about. So if you take my definition first, it is about your social life. It is about eating healthy food or eating healthier choices of food. It is also about your mental health and talking in a kind way to yourself. And it's about accepting who you are, and it's about self-development. It's also about taking care of your skin, hair and teeth. And it's also about staying in movement your entire life, so exercising. And not to stop moving throughout your life. And by the way, I'm looking down on my notes because I've written down what I want to say in this video, because I want to say everything that I find to be important. So if we take Wikipedia's definition of what health is a broad term that covers conditions and activities relating to human well-being, both physical and mental well-being. The field ranges from established medical scientific disciplines to alternative treatment methods. So I want to go right into what I have tried to stay healthy in the past and why it didn't work out. So, as you might know if you have seen my video about why I'm no longer vegan, I was vegan for a period about 1 year to 1.5 years, and I really wanted to try really badly to stay healthy, and that's why I was willing to be vegan for a period of my life. Because like everyone else, I knew that health is important, and I still know that health is important. But what I did not realize at the time was that I was forcing myself to fit into a category I did not fit into. I forced myself to try and eat in a way I did not like, and I was miserable. I hated most of the food I was trying to eat and easily craved into eating more unhealthy choices like vegan pizzas, because I hated the food I was eating. So I was not eating enough and my weight was really dropping, and I got to a point where I weighed too little. I was underweight, and it's safe to say that I'm a picky eater because I have problems related to food. If the food does not interest me and I do not really like it, I will not eat it. So I got depressed and stressed and underweight, and yeah, I get depressions, just not the depression you think of when you think of the diagnosis depression, but something along that line I get because I have my own mental things to fight with, so I get depressed sometimes. So the big problem for me here was that I was trying to copy everyone else, what everyone else was doing, what their idea of health was, and I was trying to copy it into my life. And I was miserable, and I was really hard on myself because it did not work out for me, trying to copy everyone else and what they did and what their idea of health was. And this was the problem because I forgot to take into account what worked out for me. I forgot that you can't not just copy someone else because we are all different. And if we are forcing ourselves to be a person we are not and do things that does not work for us, well, then we're just gonna fail time and time again. And we're gonna be miserable, and we're gonna judge ourselves based on it not working out. Why can't we just do what everyone else does? That's probably what we're thinking if we're going through this process and we're trying to copy what everyone else is doing. Well, we can't just do what everyone else does because we are all different, and that's why you got to get to know yourself and what works for you. It takes time, and you have to be extremely honest with yourself and accept what works for you and that you aren't like everyone else. So what is going to work for you is probably not what is working for everybody else. It's probably just what is working for some, and it might not be the people you see on social media. What works for you might be something you've never ever heard about, but you have to try it out and then you find, okay, this fits all my criteria for what will work for me. So as I've just talked about, you need to get to know yourself and accept what works for you and stop trying to copy what everyone else is doing. For the longest while, I tried to run and do pop Pilates as exercise, but I got drained from energy every time and I just did not enjoy it. I had to force myself to do it. And when it is not something you enjoy, but something you have to force yourself to do, you are not going to go very far. You are mostly not going to exercise because you'll never feel like it because you do not enjoy it. So going into how I try to stay healthy now and why it works for me. Life is about finding things that works for you instead of working against you. This is my best quote for this video. I have made it myself. It's about accepting who you are and what works for you instead of trying to force yourself to do something that does not work for you. This is when everything took a turn for me, and it took 4 steps for me, you could say, to take this turn where I found out what works for me when it comes to staying healthy. I stopped copying what everyone else does to stay healthy. I got to know what I liked and I got to know myself. I accepted what I like and that it might be different from everyone else or most people. And I started to do what I like and be happy with the ways I have found that works for me to stay healthy. So what worked for me was actually listening to my own needs. So if we just take exercising and take the example of what just worked for me. So listening to my own needs when it came to exercising meant I don't want to exercise outside. I did not want any kind of exercise where I had to be on a yoga mat. I did not want any kind of exercise where I had to warm up and stretch before and after the exercise. I did not want any kind of exercise that drains my energy completely so I could not function the rest of the day. I wanted something I could do at home. So what I bought was an exercising bike. It runs on batteries, so I did not have to get a higher electricity bill. It was one of the exercising bikes that was best when it had been tested. It was one of the best exercising bikes of the one that has been tested by some people that know about this kind of stuff. And I'm making a daily routine where I use the exercising bike 1 to 2 hours before we eat dinner. The best thing about it is I'm sitting down while I'm exercising, so I can see TV while I'm doing it or watch something on my phone. And it is still hard exercising, but I'm sitting down while I'm doing it. I finally started to listen to my own needs and wants and stop listening to everyone else and accepting who I am and what works for me. And when it comes to food, food is a real struggle for me. And what actually helped me is make a list of health foods that I really like and that I will eat up. So I made it into categories like food you get calcium from and vegetables, fruits, fiber-rich foods and so on. Let's be really honest, because some foods you might think are okay, but you never eat them up and then they rot in your fridge, and that is not ideal. I was actually surprised by how many vegetables I could put down on the paper about what I like of healthy foods. When you're making a list about it is important you use a combination of what is said to be healthy in science and what you yourself find healthy. So for example, in Denmark we have some labels like a keyhole that is on some of our food, and this label indicates that the food that it is on has less salt and fat and therefore is a healthier choice. Things like this can help you when you're in the decision making about finding the healthier foods. I think it's also really important that we stay open to trying new foods our entire life. But it's also really important that we accept if we do not like it, or we do not like it enough to eat the entire thing if we had it in our fridge. I also take daily multivitamins just because as our food sources are today, we cannot be sure to get all of vitamins and minerals we need from food. So we have to take daily supplements. That is what I believe, and that's what I heard from a farmer I know here in Denmark. But when it comes to mental health, this real struggle for me because I have a diagnosis. But what I really try to focus on myself is accepting myself for who I am and talking in kind of way to myself. And that's okay to have days where you do not function, and just prioritizing taking care of yourself on those days. So the equivalent to someone who does not have a diagnosis like me would be taking a break from your daily routines to take care of yourself if you're really stressed or you're really burnt out. It's important to remember your worth is not tied to how productive you are, and being able to take care of yourself makes you a strong person because you're listening to your body's signals, and that will give you a longer life in the long run. Skin, teeth and hair health, just as our mental health is probably one of the things we do not focus on enough. I think most people just focus on exercising and eating healthy, and they forget all the other areas that makes up our health, like skin, teeth and hair, just as an example. So me, I've gotten a lot of products for my skin and hair that helps me. I have big problems with dryness, somewhat of unclear skin, so I use products that help with that. And when it comes to my teeth, I brush my teeth 2 times a day, in the morning before I eat and at night just before I go to bed. I, of course, also use dental floss just to clean in between my teeth as well. So last point in staying healthy is that you have the courage to express yourself. I think a big part of being healthy comes from the relationship we have with ourselves, and having the courage to stay true to yourself is an important part of staying healthy. Whether that be through your opinions, your makeup, your clothing, or blessings, or something entirely different that expresses who you are as a person. So that was the video. That was what I had to say. And I want to say that the most important thing you should take from this video is that health isn't just exercise, and it isn't just about food. It's about a lot of different areas about ourselves, like mental health and skincare and your hair and your teeth and the way you treat yourself. There's so many components of staying healthy. And then it's really, really important that you don't copy what everyone else is doing to stay healthy. It's important you find the things that actually work for you. So find the foods you always love and you always eat of, all the healthy foods that you really love and you know you will eat of. And find the exercise for you where it doesn't feel like a punishment, but where it actually works for you. And through that, you can also be proud of yourself because you're actually eating healthy and you're actually exercising, but you're not copying everyone else. You're actually doing it in the way that works for you. So it's really about getting to know ourselves and find out what works for us and be alright with what works for us might not be what works for everybody else. So yeah, guys, this was the video. If you're new here, my name is Catherine, and on this channel I talk about living an intentional life. And one of those topics underneath that theme is the topic I've just talked about today, for example, about how to stay healthy. And then I also talk about being child first choice, and I talk about other topics I find interesting. That could, for example, be something about my mental health disorder or just mental health in general, or whatever I feel like talking about. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you stick around and subscribe and like and all the good stuff, and I hope to see you soon in a new video. Bye guys!